Welcome to this session, which is called From Lead to Loyalty, How Data Lakes Supercharge Sales and Marketing. And I have been super excited about this one. I mean, I'm always excited about our SAMI sessions. They're all so amazing in all these topics. But this one, because we have so much data, right? In sales and marketing, we do not lack data. It used to be we didn't have data, but now we have so much data, tons of it in sales and marketing. But the problem is it's all over the place and it's in different formats and it's in different systems. And I'm curious to know if data lakes are the solution, right? We don't know that there's a silver bullet approach to anything, but I'm really intrigued by data lakes and this, perhaps imagining this 360-degree view of every contact, every customer, every prospect in your CRM. So what we're going to cover today with our experts, I'm going to hand it over to them in just a moment, is what data lakes are and aren't, and they're going to share some examples, and how to quickly build customer views across platforms and the impact on sales and marketing leadership. As you know, we pride ourselves at SAMI on being practical, things you can apply as soon as you get off the call today. All this year, the through line for our SAMI sessions have been AI, right? How could it not be in this world that we live in? And AI is part of the conversation today too, but I think the way to think of it is AI is like the icing on the cake because it only works if your data foundation is strong, and our speakers are going to talk to us about that. Now, Adam and Adele are technical, but they know how to explain technical topics in plain language. So again, we're excited to have them here. So as always, keep the chat rolling, ask your questions, share your experiences. Rob and I will keep an eye on that for you. So with that, Adele, I'm going to hand it over to you and Adam to introduce yourselves and to dive right into this topic of data lakes for us.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Pam, for that warm intro. And thank you to the SAMI board for having myself and Adam here to present to you all today. We're absolutely thrilled to be here. And I know I've enjoyed watching each of the SAMI events I've seen this year. Large shoes to fill, especially those sessions geared towards AI. I know it's been a heavy topic this year. So we're hoping to expand on that knowledge base. And before we start here, I'd love to just give an extra thank you to the audience and those who are here live today. Each of you have a full Tuesday to get back to after this, and there's much more you could be doing. So thank you for spending the time to learn and be here with us. So here's the flight plan of where we plan to take you today. We're going to start with data, and we're going to integrate your marketing, sales, and web analytics data for the purpose of this presentation. We're going to unify it, ground it, create a strong foundational layer, as Pam just mentioned. And then that's going to position us to build on top. And what we can do with that next layer is either apply AI, or we can make sure that our contact layout pages are completely armed and ready for those sales team members to hit the ground running. So without further ado, would love to just go into a little bit of background about myself and Adam. I'm Adele Grog. I have 10 years of digital marketing experience. I've worked across agency, full-time contract, and consultancy roles. I specialize in email, paid search, SEO, and analytical reporting. I started my own firm, which is AC Media Solutions, in 2019, and I've had the pleasure of working with Adam for the last 5 years for a mid-sized organization, working through inefficiencies as it relates to MarTech. So I'm very excited to be here because we've been in this seat before, working through some of these issues, and sometimes it depends where you fall on the hierarchy chain and the size of your business, if you even get to take part in some of these conversations about data. So Adam Eidson has 15 years of data science and data analytics experience. He's filled principal engineer roles. His majority of his background falls in the residential, commercial real estate, and wealth management verticals. I've worked with Adam specifically as he built a process and tool, really a data transformation process that took a manual, paper, customer-facing financial statement protocol and completely digitized the entire process. He built an extractor, transform, and load tool that took all of the data from different departments, brought it over into one consolidated area, and then was able to orchestrate the branding behind where some of these things went and making sure the right fonts were correct. And from everywhere from the accuracy and the compliance to the delivery of getting these statements out in a one-to-many email where that recipient received their specific link, their specific document, secured and timely. All in all, he was able to save the company 32,000 hours and from a range of 950,000 to $2.3 million. So that is an incredible feat. So I'm very excited to be presenting with him today and just giving more juice to this topic. It's a very exciting topic, and I think we've come a long way with this topic from where we were 10 years ago. We used to have the challenges of cloud space, of computing in general. And we now are in a place where we have scalable tools. They're cost-effective tools. They're way more efficient, and they're cross-communicative more so than they've ever been in the past. This is a truly revolutionary time for people working in marketing and sales because we finally get to solve, at least attempt to solve, right, an age-old pain point for our entire industry, the data. So as we get back into the presentation here, how much of marketing today feels like running back and forth, right? We've got to run down the hall to our GA and our HubSpot data, and then we've got to run all the way back over to our CRM because that's where our sales data is. But then we need to run down the hall and maybe across the hall over to finance because those guys, they love their spreadsheets and there's no changing that. Well, then sometimes maybe then accounting, who wants nothing to do with most of the company, we've got to go over there and pipe some data from them as well. Well, I tell people I'm in the best shape of my life because of all of the running marketing has made me do over the years. It's been a lot. And in the middle of all of that running and all of that copying and pasting, there's a ton of human error that could happen. And we've all been there, updating certain reports and trying to export the right things at the right time, and also lengthy data migration projects that sometimes probably make it onto the Marketing Minute docket, but probably get pushed and pushed and pushed until it's not there anymore. So we're hoping that data lakes today and the idea of grounding your data, solidifying it, unifying it, bringing it all together to amplify and create a solid base for where your organization can then implement and deploy a level of artificial intelligence and machine learning. With that, then position your organizations for success. So what is a data lake? A data lake is not a spreadsheet. And it's not a data warehouse. It's like an unfiltered reservoir where you can have all of your lake activities. For instance, you could have skiing in the middle of the lake, kayaking in the middle of the lake, bird watching, perhaps some hiking off to the side, and a beach where people are just sunbathing. Similarly, data lakes can take in different types of data from different sources, some formatted, unformatted. It's a digital receptacle of all types of data that you can house and clean, and it's a much faster process than what we had to go through if you were bringing perhaps a piece of data from one system into another. So this is absolutely fast tracking that process that we've all had to live through roughly just 10 years ago. So where do we begin now? We want to first start with making very important foundational system choices. We want to be thinking about the future and the scalability of your organizations, because that's really what we're seeing. The successful companies who are deploying AI in a profitable manner, that's what they're thinking. They're thinking scalability first. And then you want to assemble your team of subject matter experts. For instance, if you are a small team, who's manning the data front? Who's manning the marketing front? Are they both technical? Also, this is a good time to bring in your salespeople and ask them, are they utilizing some of the CRM capabilities? Are they just doing what, the minimum there and not expanding upon their knowledge?
Hey,
If
Adele,
the,
just a question
sure.
on the organizations that you work with your practice. Um, are they treating data lakes as a formalized concept? We have a data lake, or are there boundaries into your definition? When would an organization or people that are attending this call say, you know what, I've got a data lake, or conversely, I just got a bunch of data and it's not really connected. Where's the D mark?
Yeah, I can take that one, Rob. I'm Adam, by the way. Uh, our clients are on a continuum. They're on a journey. Some individuals have spreadsheets and they've connected Google Sheets to their website feeds, and that's how they do business. And they've gotten as far as they have doing that. Other times there are more established, more mature data environments where they may even have a data engineer on on payroll, and they have a few databases. They have maybe even a data warehouse, and then it's actually rare that we see an organization that calls us in that already has a data lake established. It's one of those moments where if you already have a data lake, you smell what's going on here. You know the direction that you want to go, and you're well on your way.
Yeah, thanks, Adam. Yeah, the base of the question is, do I need a formal data lake in place to take advantage of what you folks are saying? And the answer is no, not necessary at all.
Not at all. The best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The next best time is today.
Right. Thank you.
So the destination of where we plan to take you throughout this process is going to end with grounding your data, which means unifying it and creating that strong layer of truth behind your data, which Adam is going to go into in a more detail shortly. So a common issue that we're seeing today is the issue of siloed data systems. We're coming in from grandfathered legacy systems that once companies needed, and they only spoke to either directly to the organization, or you had to export directly from it, very non-communicative with other systems. And the issue there is that some organizations just, we don't break what's not broken. We don't fix what's not broken. We haven't kept up with having these conversations where we're going to be upgrading our entire enterprise, ecosystem. And that's okay. I want to stress that this is fundamentally a historical problem that we're facing, because systems just aren't what they used to be. We're stuck in the capability of what the past was. And now we're stepping into AI. We're stepping into these vast technological phases where we're able to use something like data lakes, and they're new tools, but they just beat everything out of the water in terms of capability and speed and cost effectiveness. So right now we're actually starting to see a link between siloed data ecosystems and organizations, and unfortunately, the missing the mark when it comes to deploying profitable generative AI agents. And so this next slide that has a very staggering quote, I just want to also emphasize once again, this is a historical issue that we're seeing with the siloed environments that a lot of organizations are going through. And so I'll take a pause here for folks to just read this, because it's a big idea. Just 5% of integrated AI pilots are extracting millions in value, while the vast majority remain stuck with no measurable profit and loss impact. 95% of organizations are getting zero return. That's huge. This report surveyed 300 different AI initiatives, 52 executives, and 153 senior experts. They were able to derive that 30 to 40 billion has been invested into generative AI deployments. So we're absolutely seeing a link here between siloed data ecosystems and environments being linked with unproductive, unprofitable AI deployments. And one of the solutions that we're going to talk through with you today is, and like Pam mentioned, we're hoping that it is a viable solution for most marketing and sales professionals, is data lakes. And so we want to talk about what the 5% are doing right when it comes to this specific study. And so to start, the 5% who are actually finding profitability from deploying these generative AI deployments are limiting disruption. They're experimenting first in certain parts of their organizations, proving their concept, and then rolling out their ecosystem-wide solutions to the rest, slowly. They're not taking a full organizational view on their unraveling and deploying of AI. They're embracing the enterprise paradox. They're putting scalability first and the future. And this is not something that was, I would say, a forefront priority 10 years ago when it came to making those foundational decisions about your data. Scalability was not at the forefront. I think cloud space and costs limited a lot of the past data decisions that leaders have had to make. And now the 5% that are deploying AI in a profitable manner are embracing the investment bias that while ChatGPT and popular AI tools seem like great office admin and creative replacements, for instance, getting rid of perhaps your creative design department and saying just use AI on the interim there, it's actually there's more reach behind AI by using it in a way to enhance your back office capabilities and to do the deep analytical, deep integrative work, because it's actually quantifiable. We can ask AI we can give AI rows and rows and rows and rows of code, and it's going to tell me if it's correct or not, or if there's a bug in that code. Where I could give it a beautiful portrait of something that I created in Photoshop, and it could tell me its version is prettier than mine, and I don't think so. So that is where we're seeing that organizations are missing the mark. Sure, it can write a faster email, but can it go and 20x a report, go and find that data, pull that report together, and then give me some analytical summaries based on what it did? Because that report once took a skilled person 20 minutes to assemble. But if it can go and do that automatically within minutes, that means it's 20xing a junior level's skill set and then summarizing on that. Instead of us taking the time that it would take to build reports, imagine coming in to your workday as a high-level sales and marketing person, and that report is already built. You're just there to now think about what's in front of you, and you didn't have to go to those different sources to build the report. And so this is why I'm very excited to be just here presenting on this topic. And at the end of the day, we all use the same return on investment formula. So as we're walking into the future and we're deploying and creating unified environments for our senior level leaders to really think about how we're going to push our teams into this working smarter, not harder phase, I'm very, very, very excited to pass it over to Adam.
Thanks, Adele. Excellent tee up. I want to spend a hot minute on the findings on the MIT study on why AI deployments fail. I noticed a comment in the chat calling or pointing out the flack or feedback that MIT got for that study, and that that critique is valid. What we're focusing on with this presentation is the underlying reasons that we've also uh, observed through our travels as consultants and employees of various levels of organizations. Specifically, why AI deployments fail. For one, they don't have domain experts as contributing stakeholders early on in the game. This is something that can be applied not only to AI, but even any analytics project that comes down the pipe. You need to have the individuals who have that institutional knowledge, that domain knowledge in the room with your technicians from day one. That's one reason why these AI deployments fail, and that's something that was presented in the MIT study. Two, it takes too long to iterate. We don't want to operate on timelines of 8 months or 9 months for the next version. We want to move faster than that. We want to get down to weeks and days within reason because marketing takes time. Third, the implementation of the AI solution is clunky or awkward. It breaks the operations flow of the user. Well, if the user is having pain just using the solution, they're not going to use the solution. And they're going to happily divert back to what they know and love and what they've been doing for time immemorable to get the job done. So implementing an effective user experience is critical. And then the other thing that we noticed was that data that the AI needs to effectively complete the task, that's not provided to the AI. This is the term grounding. If you've heard that term thrown around, grounding is where we say, okay, AI, LLM model, you've been trained on the entirety of human knowledge. And now we want you to focus really, really specifically on our special snowflake business. Nothing else is like it in the rest of the world. Nothing ever has, nothing ever will. And we want you to give us a perfect answer. We can't expect an AI to do that without giving it very specific data for our organization. That very specific data for our organization is exactly what grounding is. Moving it back to the data lake, this is exactly what a data lake is intended to do. Unify all of that data to present to our AI solution. Now, most organizations have some representation of this slide here, where we have our operations, our back of house going to a certain analytics software or AI software, and we have all of our different organizational bodies doing that same thing. They're all separated, they're all siloed. What this ends up giving us is an ununified data environment where, in order to create a single contact page layout, single pane of glass experience, or single analysis experience, is we have to make multiple calls to different organizations to gather our data together, curate that data, and then do the work that we were really wanting to do. That leads to a very clunky, very awkward process, very prone to error, not repeatable. But this
So
is
Adam,
common.
there's a comment coming as a question in the chat. Is somebody said this is like Google's Notebook LM on steroids? Does that have a play here from what you folks have seen?
Yeah, that could be a fine description. Um, Notebook LM, for those who aren't familiar with it, is a tool presented by Google that allows one to connect all sorts of different uh, Google Drive documents, documents from their local computer, present them to an AI model, uh, and kind of create like a mini data lake, a data pond, uh, to give the LLM access to all that data, and then one can interact with it. It's a really great tool, really great for doing initial research and diving deep into one's own data.
Great, thank you.
So this siloed data experience, very common, especially as organizations grow. Uh, your business is fighting for its life, and you do the things that you need to do to make it to the next state. Donald Rumsfeld said, you go to war with the army you have, not the army you want." So you made it this far, and invariably there's going to be some data siloing that occurs. That's okay. Some practical, want to call out some practical uh, tactical applications here. Using tools like DBT, Databricks, and Dagster are useful here to wrangle your data and extract the data, load it into your data lake, and then transform it after. I personally like Dagster, and all of our solutions that we build are built on open source technology as much as possible, which Dagster is an open source technology. Okay. And final note before I move on here, this is a garden to be tended. Uh, we don't just get to set it up and then walk away and never look at it again. We do need to pay attention to data pipelines, data tests, outputs. If we don't do that, we get into data swamp territory, which results in unreliable data. If we can't rely on our data, then we're much less likely to use it.
So Adam, I just posted the link for Dagster.
Great.
Specifically, is your yeah, and we've covered the topic of orchestration previously. Are you implying or are you explicitly saying that, in order for me to treat my data lakes as a reservoir, I'm using orchestration as the pumping station?
Absolutely. Yes. I'm using orchestration as that pumping station. Yep. Dagster, and those other tools that I mentioned, DBT, Databricks, those all give us uh, tools to make that data orchestration process much less painful than it has been traditionally. It provides us things like data lineage, where if we're in our CRM or contact page, and we want to know where did this data point originate from, we can use these orchestration tools to fully trace back that journey for that specific data field to its source, to its origin. That gets really important when we start thinking about PII, HIPAA, any of those other compliance or regulatory concerns.
Hey, Adam, just jumping in here as well. Maybe we're getting ahead of ourselves, but we had a session. Rob was talking about a session. We've had numerous sessions on orchestration. We also had Scott Brinker speak to us a few months back, and he was talking about maybe the possibility that data lakes are a tool of the future or of the present that solve this issue that we have in marketing and sales with the dirtiness of our structured data, right? We all know data hygiene is important. It just never gets done in organizations because there's 25 other things that people need to do. And you always feel like you're stuck, right? I can't make any analysis because the data is dirty. But if it's a data lake and just the nuances of what a data lake can do, and with AI tools that can pull out sentiment and things like that, do you see that as a tool of the future that potentially maybe lets us leapfrog, or do you have a different point of view on that?
Yeah, I am in a broad agreement. And coming from that data engineering background, I've been the one digging the trenches. I've been fighting in those trenches of data cleanliness. I've been the advocate to the organization of, hey, we really have to pay attention to this. Let's nail down our data dictionaries. Let's nail down these, if it's a free text field and we only use 3 values ever, let's maybe change that free text field to a pick list. Doing that work has brought me to a jovial state when I see data lakes, and specifically data lake houses. I guess it all adds to the solution. Orchestration tools, data lakes, and data lake houses. With these data problems, perennial data problems, data orchestration and our current data orchestration tool set that's available to us grants us the ability to automate this data cleansing process or data quality check process through various methods like data tests that run where we get to a certain point in our pipeline and then a data test is applied. If any of that data fails that test, then we get alerted, and we're given visibility into that failure so that we can take action on it. Was there more that you'd like me to cover there, Pam?
No, I
I
think
love the question.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure different elements of this might continue to surface as we move forward.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Great questions. So we went from that big red X, no good, siloed slide to this Nirvana slide here of all of our data is going into this fancy looking house with a bunch of servers. And then on below that, there's a bunch of database images that represent our data lake. And finally, on the output side, we get this unified experience. That big blue thing in the middle represents the data lake house. So we've used our orchestration tools to interact with all of our operational endpoints. We dump that into our data lake. That can be CSV files, that can be PDFs, video, audio, anything under the sun. Just put it into the data lake. And then the data lake house, this is the technology that I'm most excited about in the data profession, because it gives us so much more flexibility to engage with the data as it is and not have to embark on months-long database schema changes or developing very specific queries where we're having to go back to the business and the subject matter expert, and then have this funny game of telephone and translation occur between what the business needs and wants and what the technician writes, the data lakehouse reduces that technical barrier of entry.
So Adam, there's I I can't I can't understate the joy I've had doing updated schemas on my marketing data over weekends, like getting my teeth drilled. So on this concept of the data lakehouse, I love the term. The we mentioned Dagster earlier. So what else I go in the house? What am I looking at here? The concept of let's take all these disparate flows, and by providing the data lakehouse, we can turn around and we can probably get much cleaner analysis by our AI systems. But what's in the house? What's it constructed of? And if Pam mentioned at the beginning of the call, if somebody's 5 minutes after the call, are they going to go pick up a copy of Data Lakehouse magazine and start envisioning? So what's their next? What would be their logical step? What's in the house, and how do we start?
Absolutely. Uh, The softwares that folks will want to check out are Dremio. That is an open source solution. There's a free version as well as a cloud hosted solution. Uh, uh, Databricks and Snowflake. Snowflake, you might hear your technical teams refer to as a data warehouse. It can operate as a data lakehouse as well. And then Starburst is another enterprise solution that individuals might be interested in for that data lakehouse experience.
So, Adam, in listening to your response to that, I guess I'm wondering, can a marketing or sales leader drive a data lake initiative, or does this need to be a CIO, CTO led initiative? And if the latter, what can those of us who are in these sales and marketing leadership roles, what conversation do we need to have with our technical counterparts to, make this an important initiative for them when they've got 75 other things on their to-do list?
Sure. I'm a believer in title does not equal leadership. I've employed that effectively in a few of my different roles. It becomes the relationships that you have in the business. Find if one wants to make this an initiative, it takes the will and the right people in the room to make it happen. The will of the business to see it through, and then the right people in the room. Building advocates across your organizational silos and getting them to come together with you to present it to that C-suite is an excellent strategy, in my opinion.
Makes sense. Thanks.
The next thing there is find a problem to solve. I've done a lot of math studies, and for the life of me, I can look over a math concept 100 different ways, but all I need is one true application of it for it to like really hit home. So find a solvable problem today. Once you have that solvable problem, do the ROI. How many hours does it take? What's the overall cost? What's the cost of carry for this painful process? What's the cost of not getting it right? What's the opportunity of if we do get it right? And what's the cost of the solution? That gives
All right,
you
this
some ammunition to present to the C-suite.
yeah, great point, Adam. Let's make this a bit more tangible on this because on the last Sammy session, you know, Dom Colasanti was talking about the various systems. Pam mentioned Scott Brinker, and I think the justification for more systems is going to be tough. I think what we're starting to see is a lot of organizations want to ditch, elements of their stack, and you're advocating, you're making a case for it, which I happen to agree with. We got to enhance the stack. So if we're going to pick a project, because there's a great deal of skepticism, because people say, you know what, we spent a lot on stack and it's not giving us a whole lot for the reasons that both you and Adele have mentioned. So if I were to pick a project and say I'm a $50 million in revenue company, okay, maybe B2B space, what project am I looking at? What, what's
Sure.
what's what's the golden goose here that I can get to right away?
I would look at operations. The front-facing or client-facing experience, especially with AI, it's just not there, and that's a lot of risk that you place on this non-deterministic system getting it
Right.
right. So move to back of house. For instance, if you I'm gonna choose an example from my own experience in the wealth management space. There's a lot of tax statements that you have to send out. Well, if you are spending 3 months out of the year, a quarter of your year, roping in your marketing team, your compliance team, your accounting team to do all that work, that's one of those bubbles to the top areas where you want to start focusing on. With this specific example, things to do are bring your customer CRM data, put it into the lake house, put it into the data lake, bring your separate accounting system data, bring it into the data lake, and then use your data lake house to sit on top of that data lake to be able to query that data. And through this, we can at least eliminate two areas of reporting for this specific example. One area of reporting from the accounting side and another separate area of reporting from the CRM side. There's probably some combination operation that occurs between these two systems. So we can at least address that. Uh, the I would say the theme or generalizing that answer is look for what people are spending their time on.
Yeah, that's fair, Adam. Okay, sounds good. For those of you who haven't looked at the chat, Adele's put in some great information in the chat. So, Adam and Adele get about 10 more minutes, so we'll let you guys proceed.
All right. So we've got back to our slide here. We've got our data lakehouse on top. I don't want to lose the question on what's in the data lakehouse. I believe I mentioned Dremio and how that's going to look for the marketing side or the kind of the customer of the data lakehouse, the individual working in that data lakehouse. You get a very similar experience as other database query engines. Microsoft SQL comes to mind. Oracle comes to mind as well. But you get some pretty magical moments along the way. One is versioning. This is a really important concept for building systems. Let's say you write a query to get some data, and then 2 months later, you need to change it. Well, that change actually wasn't correct, and you want to go back to that original query. With data versioning, you're able to do that. Without data versioning, I hope you made a save file or something and you still have access to it. So data versioning is part of that data lakehouse experience. The other really magical thing for me on the data engineering side is we get this queryable experience from all of the data that's in our data lake. So that means our CSV files, other databases like maybe Postgres databases, SQL databases, um, Oracle databases, any other database type. For larger organizations, Hadoop is also available for query. That's a large data warehouse implementation. Um, and other unstructured data like website JSON. Other structured data like website JSON, where you're capturing some form conversion or some website event that can get dumped into our data lake. And then we can query it and we can actually tie back all of this data as long as we have our unified unique identifier for each record. Okay. Then finally, yes, that icing on top. We can be talking about this contact page layout. We could easily be talking about piping unified data into our accounting system and helping our accounting team. The very exciting AI side of it gets to be it's almost like magic where for instance I did a demonstration where we have our data lake and we have some website data and some CRM data, put that data into the data lake, and then use what's called an MCP tool server. This is another, I don't want to throw out too many acronyms, but MCP is a really big deal in the AI space because it gives us a unified way to provide tools to the AI to then do that grounding against our data. What those tools look like are queries to engage with the data lake house. So, for instance, the AI might get a prompt that says, provide me with the recommended next steps for customer ABC. And that ABC is that customer's unique identifier in our system. The AI receives that, realizes that it needs specific data for this specific customer, looks at the tools available to it via our MCP server, selects the tool that will give it the data for a specific customer based on that specific ID, and then does something kind of like a black box experience from the AI's perspective. That does something is querying our data sources. That data source returns back the data payload that we can then incorporate directly into that AI's prompt for it to actually answer the question. That's really a wild moment.
So Adam,
Yeah.
as I know we're getting close to wrapping up, but from a context perspective, you we talked about earlier about collaboration within, but I deal with a lot of marketing organizations for my business, and they're just, and even the ones that are part of broader companies, they just don't have the chops. Organizationally, what do we need to do? So, this is, as we start getting into MCPs and things like that, and a lot of people haven't been exposed to them. This is non-trivial. Yeah, and obviously the what comes out of this is a really, really big deal, but the mountain's pretty high. How do we, what does the org look like? Who do we have to hire? Are we outsourcing this or initially until we can get our sea legs, or what's the approach?
Yeah, there's multiple paths to the top of the mountain. Uh, this is one approach. And frankly, we don't need to rely on AI as this savior to us. Bar charts are really powerful. And that might be all we need to make it to the next step.
Okay,
Uh,
because we had a question in the chat about is this, some people are feeling that this is too big. for, is this going to be, can small organizations do this?
Sure. Small organizations can do this with the right people. Um, my consulting organization is a team of three, and we built these things uh, pretty pretty readily. Pretty readily because part of it's because we know how to do it, and we've leveraged AI. I mean, for goodness sake, use Notebook LM, use Google Gemini, ChatGPT, Anthropic. Stand on the shoulder of giants. We don't have to figure out how it works. Let them do that work for us, and then educate ourselves and build these systems out. What I would recommend for specific hires or titles that you're looking for to enhance your team are data engineer. The I would start at data engineer. From there, we're looking at something like principal or staff engineer title, or a specific AI or machine learning engineer. But these are all engineer uh, uh, tasks to build this infrastructure.
Yeah, and I think that's a lesson for many of the folks on the call. Some of you more agile marketing organizations now, if they've got data engineers or part of their engineering team, they can do that. All right, we've got just a couple more minutes. I'm going to let you wrap up and within the next couple of minutes, and if you could take over.
Sure. The last slide up here is just an example of what this technology can do in the wild. But I don't want to steal any more of our time here. So I'm going to pass it back over to Adele.
Sure. And that last slide there is there's a lot going on there. We're showing you kind of the background of what the database looks like on the lake house and data lake side. But the picture on the right actually is really the meat. And feel free to jump in here, Adam. What we've done here is we've taken CRM data, we've taken web analytics data, we've taken ad data, and we've integrated it all together. So now the CRM, instead of just giving me the person's contact information, it's showing me how many times that person came to the website, how long they stayed, they clicked on an ad last week, perhaps they were sent an email 2 days ago. And we have this information for everybody in the database. So then Adam built this AI tool, which is harnessing Google Gemini, but it's got its own UI, kind of looks similar to ChatGPT here. But this return is actually querying the full data set of everything that's in the CRM. It's now been connected through the data lakehouse to our marketing analytics and our ads and our email. And it's giving us very, very deep analytical returns here. I mean, we're asking it, is a silver loyalty tier customer located in Miami who recently purchased a paddleboard? And it's giving us a custom follow-up, based on what is in the CRM. Thank them for their recent paddleboard purchase. That could be like throwing them into a customer journey. Acknowledge that they stated an interest. And also at the bottom, we're breaking down this tiered system of where specific contacts fall within a hierarchy that we've given it, this gold, silver, whatever. The AI is going out and finding this data, it's organizing it, and then giving it back to me in a digestible language. So we're using this right now in a small capacity. This is a small team of just Adam and I, for me being marketing and him being the data person. And we have a sales person that we interact with. And so this is not just for large organizations, but yes, you do have to have some know-how. And so we can flip to the end, to the last slide here. And so we want to leave you with some actionable steps. Take a look at your internal projects and what you're working on today. If you're part of a really large organization, it's going to be hard for you to get into the same rooms of some of these topics. And so that leads me to the next thing, which is ask questions. I think sometimes questions lead to the really empowering conversations. And sometimes the question itself is not answered, but it creates a spark. And it also signals like levels of interest. So if you're in marketing and sales and you feel like I can't ask a question about data, you absolutely can. And in fact, you should. And so as we are moving into this innovative AI, future, trying new tools, being a sales and marketing person, especially in the technical space, it might feel weird, but just do it. It's where like the future is heading. And don't be afraid. We all, new things are new. And so you're going to, you might feel uncomfortable, but that's okay. And then we want to leave you with this overarching conclusion that grounded data leads to profitable AI, and at the very least can fuel your contact layout page. Because if you have a full, complete history of what your contacts are going through in your CRM, you can enter the chat in a relevant way instead of with gaps in your data where you're not sure if that person received an email yesterday or clicked on an ad or spoke to someone within that same day. So thank you, everybody.
Yeah, fantastic. Adele and Adam, thanks for bringing it home. I think, the slide that showed the tiers, that is pure gold. I mean, all of a sudden, I could, not to overuse the orchestration word, I can orchestrate entirely different journeys based on behavioral characteristics. Um, and this has been something that whether I'm a sales leader or a marketing leader, that's something I want to see. So thank you very much. You've given us some actionable stuff to work with. This is great. For those of you on the call, we want to say thank you. This is actually our last Sammy session of the year. We take December off because nobody wants to, spend the Thursday before Christmas hanging out with us, as cool as we think we are. The recording for this will be available next week. Everybody who registered will get the link and go from there. And as we lay out the 2026 programming for Sammy, we've got some really exciting stuff, and we've got potentially some great customer experience. Folks coming in and looking at the impact not only on the data that Adam and Adele just talked about, but also, how do we turn around and go from the initial lead all the way to the close into the referrals. So I want to thank everybody for joining us. Our guests who are here, thank you as well for taking your time out today, and we will see you early next year. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye now.
Thank you.